What is the true cost of one bad hire, and can your organization afford hiring mistakes year over year? Let's get into it. Okay. I think the number that most of us are most familiar with is about 30% of the employee's annual salary or first year earnings. So let's take a sales rep who's earning maybe a $100,000 annual salary. That's going to be give or take around $30,000. So not a great number, but not that horrible either. But what happens when we then factor in opportunity costs? There's a lot of research out there that shows one bad hire, when you factor in opportunity costs, can actually exceed $1 million. So one of those resources, and I'll list the sources that I reference a little bit later in the presentation so that you can check those out for yourself if you like. But this is a great book. I highly recommend Hiring Smart. This is by psychiatrist Dr. Pierre Mornell. He has since passed, unfortunately, but really great book. And he also served as an advisor to presidents of organizations, helping in their hiring process. So he says not only can it cost over $1 million one bad hire, but it can also take your organization up to 18 months, a year and a half to recover from. Now let's look at the breakdown. This breakdown right here is taken from another source. This is by, let's see here, Ray McKenna. So this is taken from an article called a $1 Million Mistake. Ray McKenna is the general manager of the sales and readiness group. So I love this breakdown here. Let's quickly go through it. So if you've got a sales rep making a salary of $100,000, initially hiring, onboarding, and ramping up, you're already at $95,000. So this is already well over their 30% of their annual salary, because you've got the recruiter fees, you're paying HR, and you're also paying for their benefits in addition to their salary, as well as the training. Now, typically you're going to have a ramp up period where you don't expect a return on investment necessarily for the first half of the year. So let's say, conservatively speaking, that the sales rep has a $1 million quota. Well, they may not be reaching, you may not expect them to reach the quota the first half of the year. That's the ramp up period. And then the second half of the year, you're looking for that return on investment, $500,000. However, if you have made a bad hire, you do not have the right employee in place, chances are you're missing out on the opportunity cost of at least half of the quota for the year. So that's another $500,000. So now you're at $595,000 in losses due to one bad hire. Now, by that point, so you've had the ramp up period, and then you're learning that, okay, we made a bad hire, we don't have the right employee in place. It can take some time to get them out of the organization. During that time, you're still paying for their salary and their benefits. So this is how you get an additional over $60,000. And then what about the client impact? If you have some potential damage to your brand and your clients, maybe you lose 2 accounts. And the best numbers, the best resources are going to be within your own organization, because maybe an account is worth a lot more than $50,000. So again, these numbers could be pretty conservative. So let's say, though, you have 2 account losses valued at $50,000 each. That's another $100,000 loss. But then let's look deeper at what about the impact to team morale? Whenever we don't have the right person on the team, that can negatively impact team morale, and it can cause your team to be frustrated. And anytime we have a problem, a frustration, we're working with a distracted focus. So your team may not be making as much of an impact in their territories as well. And you'd want to, again, look at the numbers within your own organization, what their accounts and territories are valued at, to figure out the number for these additional losses. And then also, when you have a frustrated team, who are they bringing their frustrations to? You, the hiring manager, then further distracting your focus and your impact. So now you are already, with the breakdown here, over $750,000 in losses due to one bad hire. That's over a year's time. And then you're starting the process over again. Again, you are recruiting, you are hiring and onboarding and training another rep to replace the mistake. So again, you're at a $95,000 loss, or investment rather, just to start. And then again, this employee is going to need the ramp up period. And so they may not reach their full $1 million quota. So that's another potential $500,000 loss during that ramp up period. So this is how you can see we get to the number exceeding $1 million, $1.35 million in 18 months of time lost. Okay, so let's dig a little bit deeper here. That's just for potentially one bad hire. But now the question is, and again, the best lessons are the ones that we teach ourselves. The best resources are the ones within your own organization. So I encourage you to get with the CFO, executive leadership, really dig in and look at the numbers that your company is missing out on revenue wise due to bad hires. So first of all, you want to evaluate how much is one bad hire on average costing your organization. And then you want to look at, what about multiple hires? What about if you are a startup organization and you are building out a sales team, and with that expansion, what if you don't have the right candidate profile or process in place? This could lead to multiple bad hires as you work to grow and build your organization. Or what if you're already an established organization and you have multiple divisions and then multiple teams? So let's look again, conservatively speaking, let's say 7 bad hires annually. And you've got so 1.352 million times 7 bad hires. This is again taking into account the research-based calculations, investments for recruiting, onboarding, training, salary, and then the opportunity cost lost in the geography, with again taking into account that unmet sales quota. So you're at about $9.5 million with 7 bad hires. And then think about multiple bad hires across multiple teams and divisions. Over time, you can see how it may make sense to dig a little bit deeper, figure out what is really going on as when it comes to making bad hires and the impact to your organization's bottom dollar. Okay. Now, another great resource here, this article reports, so research is showing 2022 average retention rates for sales reps and sales leaders is just 18 to 20 months. So this article here is, this is published in Smart Winner, and it's saying that turnover is at an all-time high. So it is a very big problem. And how big of a problem is it for your organization? So average sales rep and sales rep tenure is 18 to 20 months. That is less than 2 years. My name is Amy Miller. I'm a recruiter. I'll give a better introduction, or more in-depth introduction here in a moment, but I just want to share with you quickly my hiring stats and how they compare to the average. So I am founder and principal recruiter at Troika Talent Acquisitions, now Troika Talent Acquisitions Coaching and Consulting. Through my, this is 9 years now, recruiting experience, 28% of my hires were retained 4 years or more, 42% 3 years or more, 61% 2 years or more, 45% currently retained, and then 27% promoted. All right, now let's take, I have placed a lot more than 75 candidates over the years, but this is a sampling here. Out of 75 hires, I always like to dig deeper and really look at the problem. And that's because the answer to the problem is in the problem. And I'll talk more about that here in a moment. But out of this cohort here, this group of 75 hires, 66 hires were good hires. So these are candidates that I placed. So I am familiar with the process, what we did, the steps that we went through in the interview process, how it went, and then whether or not these candidates are still with the company today, or if they've moved on and their tenure. So out of 75 hires, 66 were good hires, meaning they stayed with the company 2 years or more, and or they were promoted. So this is 88% of 75 hires were good hires. Now, 9 hires were bad hires, so 12%, meaning they were with the company for 1 year or less. So of these 9 hires, 7 of them, the process was rushed. So this is the reason for the bad hire, the rush process. And then the other 2 of the 9 hires, the reason is there were red flags. I saw the red flags. The managers likely saw the red flags too, but maybe didn't heed their instincts. And I do hear this a lot. Sometimes, or often, I should say, when a hiring manager reaches out to me to help backfilling an opening where the candidate was in place for around a year or maybe even less, they almost always tell me that they had a concern. There was a red flag, but they either ignored the red flag or thought that they could, I don't want to say they ignored it. I mean, maybe they just thought that they could coach this candidate up or kind of work through the challenge. And this also plays into when we're not heeding our instincts, when we're missing the red flags in a candidate. This plays into the process here, because instead of going ahead with the process as planned, maybe that's rushing the process if there are some potential challenges. So what can we do? And we'll talk more about the solution here in just a moment. You can add an interview step that addresses that specific concern. And that's going to help you learn, okay, it's actually not a concern. This candidate kind of passed that test with flying colors. Let's go ahead and move them forward. We're feeling more confident. Or by adding that additional interview step, it's going to weed out the candidate, which it may take an extra week or two in the interview process, but that is a heck of a lot better than 18 months of time wasted to recover from making a bad hire. So now let's dig a little bit into the solution. Well, first we're going to talk about the cause more and then the solution. Again, we want to look at the problem, and then the solution is typically going to present itself. The answer to the problem is often, if not always, in the problem. So the problem is not the surface level bad hires. The problem is why. Why are we making bad hires? Research shows the top two contributing factors that lead to bad hires are poor communication and a rushed process or a lack of process. So then if we look deeper at the problem, the solution is obvious. What do we want to do to eliminate bad hires, to make more lasting hires and with confidence? We want to design and implement the ideal hiring process for your organization, and also help your leaders improve communication. And we even want to get more specific and granular with communication and what that means. Communication with whom? With whom do you need to improve your communication? Everybody that is involved in the interview process. So that includes other members of your leadership team, your recruiters, and also your candidates. Remember, candidates, the high value candidates who value themselves, who are smart, who have a strong or high level of both self and social awareness, they know their worth. And so they want to feel engaged and they want to feel valued. If they're not getting that engagement, they're going to take their time and energy and they're going to invest it elsewhere. So you definitely want to keep communication going with your candidates throughout the process. Now, a little bit about me. My name is Amy Miller. I'm principal owner and recruiter of Troika Talent Acquisitions. And several years into my recruiting experience with the high success rates, as I shared, that I have had over the years in really partnering closely with hiring managers, I'm very curious by nature. So I ask a lot of questions. I really want to understand what's in their head, not just what they need in a candidate profile, but why they need it. And I want to connect with each manager each time they reach out to me for an opening. Even if it's a role that I have recruited for before, even if it's a company that I've recruited for multiple times, each territory is going to have different nuances. So I want to understand that. So anyway, I'm super passionate about partnering with my hiring managers. And I'm very efficient. I don't like wasting time. So I want to make sure I'm efficient with their time and conducting an effective search. So anyhow, through my years of recruiting and the high success that I have had with the high tenure, low turnover for most of the reps that I have placed, I know when the process and the communication is strong and is optimal. And I can also see usually very, very quickly when a hiring manager is going to have some potential challenges, often self-imposed challenges in their search. And so not only can I see the problem, I can also see the solution. So a couple years ago, I began to get increasingly frustrated with some of these unnecessary inefficiencies that I was noticing. And I got the idea, the drive, the calling, the desire to help my hiring managers in a greater capacity. I love working with candidates as well. However, my client is the hiring manager. So I want to help them make the right hires, and I want to help them save time and eliminate that unnecessary frustration in the process. So I got the idea to offer consulting to companies to help their leaders make the right hires. And I decided to first write a book. So I've been a writer my whole life. I've published 2 books now, Ready, Set, Recruit, The Hiring Manager's Guide to Recruiting with Confidence. I talk about some of the pillars that I teach in the training and that I implement in my consulting. And then why am I strong in problem solving? The truth is, I'm going to get a little philosophical with you here. Bear with me for a moment, that we can only know others as deeply as we know ourselves. And I have spent years digging into the deepest depths of my soul, looking for the reason why I used to carry around this empty feeling. So I battled depression, I battled anxiety, both for decades when I was younger. And I was on the right track. I knew in looking for the reason why, I knew that if I could understand why, because I didn't know why I felt like this, that I could find the solution. And I did. And it took me a really long time. And the reason why it took me a long time is because I was looking in the wrong place. So I was looking for the reason, which was I had the right idea, but I was looking outside of myself. So just like with talking, I mentioned a moment ago about the surface level problems, we want to look deeper at why we're experiencing turnover. So this can be this concept of really focusing on the frustration, looking deeper at the problem, and looking within ourselves for our responsibility that is contributing to the problem can be applied to all areas, both in life and in business, including in your hiring process. So I've gotten very good at identifying problems, and then the solution presents itself in life, in my personal life and in business, and I can help you get better at hiring. So my second book here, Where's My Mustard? How to Let Go, Attract, and Achieve a Quest to Self-Empowerment, is all about my journey to getting happy, the success habits that I learned, adopted, and locked in place that can also help others as well. So I'm a coach, I'm a consultant, and I'm a recruiter, and I'm super passionate about helping leaders make the right hires and with confidence. So that's just a little bit about me. I also have a YouTube channel if you want to get more familiar with my content. I talk a lot about the hiring process and also creating success habits. So you can subscribe to my YouTube channel right here. And if you would like to connect with me and book a call, we can do that. And I can learn a little bit more about what the challenges and the goals are in improving your organization's hiring process to see if I can help. So you can also scan the link to my Calendly right here. We can have a quick call. And then, of course, if you want to check out my website, amyleemiller.com, troikatalentacquisitions.com, this link here will take you to the same place. So, all right. Now, my mission, let's talk about it a little bit with Troika Talent Acquisitions, coaching and consulting, is to empower leaders by helping them identify and overcome hiring challenges and ultimately build ideal teams with confidence. We talked about the revenue you could potentially be missing out on due to bad hires. But what about the time, the effort, the energy, and the unnecessary stress? So I also want to help leaders better heed their intuition and hone their focus. And all of that is involved in what we offer at Troika Talent Acquisitions, coaching and consulting. The tagline here that I adopted in starting my business is efficiency, integrity, and perseverance. I do not like wasting time. It's probably the thing that that really bothers me the most. And the number one person whose time I value and want to help maximize is my hiring manager. Number two are the candidates, and number three is me. And as long as I'm keeping the hiring managers and the candidates number one, I'm going to succeed as well. And I'm going to speak up and tell the truth. And it's not always very popular, makes me very unpopular with a lot of people, but not with the right people. So very high integrity, and I don't give up. And just real quick, I get a lot of questions about the owl. The owl is my power animal, or I think some people might call it a spirit animal. Whenever you figure out what your power animal is, and if you're curious how to do that, you can reach out to me and I'll share with you an exercise how to do that. But once you do, you want to research the animal to learn the traits that animal embodies. So owls are fierce and wise, as am I, and I can teach you to be as well, not just in life, but also in the hiring process. Okay, so now what do I offer? What do we offer at Troika Talent Acquisitions, Coaching and Consulting? Before providing a solution, we want to figure out the problem. So I do offer consulting services, including the initial process build out. So what that is going to entail is coming in and meeting with HR, executive leadership, your internal recruiting teams, external recruiters. If you have a couple that you partner closely with as well, and you want me to connect with them, I'm happy to see if they're open to doing that too. But we're going to figure out where are the challenges before we implement solutions. And then we're also going to establish a baseline for how much time and revenue is being lost due to bad hires. If you don't have that in place already, I'll meet with your different teams and we'll get a baseline so that we can see what the results are through working together. Now you'll notice the investment numbers here, which I'll speak to in a moment, but I also have a note up here that this presentation is to help you understand the potential challenge of revenue losses, bottom line, that you could potentially be losing due to bad hires, and also the return on investment through working together. Now, these numbers are speculative. They're going to be different, maybe depending on the organization, the size of the organization, the number of your leadership team, the members, amount of leaders you have on your team. So I did have to plug a number in here so that we'll have some specifics to determine return on investment, but these numbers do vary. So, okay. And then from there, once we understand a baseline, these are the challenges and these are the potential solutions. I'm going to help you build out the ideal process for recruiting, interviewing, and hiring, and then for your organization. And it might even vary a little bit from division to division. And then I'm going to document that process. So you're going to have a playbook provided. And then next, I'm going to stay on to train and implement, because knowledge without the application is useless. So training and implementation for all teams, executive leadership, as well as your internal recruiting teams. And the timeline to complete is usually 1 to 2 months. During this time, your leadership team, your internal recruiting teams are also going to have coaching support as needed, as desired. And what that looks like is going to be customizable according to your organization and what works best for your leadership and your recruiting teams. So 1 to 2 months, depending on the accessibility that I have to your teams. And then additionally, I do offer staying on for ongoing coaching and consulting support throughout the hiring process with empowered leadership, helping your leaders heed their intuition, hone their focus, increase their self and social awareness. And in addition to that, helping with the hiring process, the interviewing process. So that could look like, okay, candidate, for this next interview, we're going to have you meet with our consultant, Amy Miller, where I'm doing a 45-minute Zoom interview, or maybe sitting in on some interviews and providing my feedback and any potential flags, concerns, or confidences that I'm having. I'm going to pass that along to you. We can workshop it a little bit and then figure out if we need to add some additional steps in the interview process to make sure that you are making the right hire. So those are the offerings. And again, the numbers are the investment. It's speculative, and just for the ROI analysis, it's going to vary depending on the needs of the organization. Now let's look at the potential savings and return on investment in helping your organization working together to help you improve communication and to help you get the right process in place. Again, those are the two biggest contributing factors that lead to bad hires. Let's improve or eliminate most of those challenges there and see what can happen. So let's say, and this is again, very conservatively speaking, let's look at your return on investment for over 3 years. And let's say, again, very conservatively speaking, that through our work together, your organization eliminates 3 bad hires per year. So these are research-based numbers, the $1.3 million times 3 bad hires over 3 years. So eliminating 9 bad hires results in a savings exceeding $12 million just by eliminating 3 bad hires per year. Again, potentially. So these numbers are based off of averages. Your numbers could be lower, they could be higher. And then the investment working together. Again, these are the speculative numbers, and we're going to customize it according to the needs of your organization. But let's say, so for that first year, let's say we come in and help you build out the process. And so for that 1 to 2 months, we've got the $30,000, and then staying on each month additional, rolling over at $10,000 month to month. So year 1 is $130,000. And then if we're working together for 3 years, just giving an estimate, speculating number here. So then it's going to be $120,000 for each year after that. So then the investment is $370,000. Your return on investment, if our time working together and the process that we implement and the improved communication results in eliminating 9 bad hires, this is a return of over almost $12 million. Would it be worth it, do you think, to have a conversation to see if Troika Talent Acquisitions, if I can help your company eliminate some bad hires. All right. So that is the end of the presentation here. If you'd like to have a conversation, let's do it. You're welcome to email me. You can inquire for some more information, amy@troikatalentacquisitions.com. Again, here's the link to my Calendly. We can schedule a call and just have a quick conversation and see if it makes sense to connect further. And then these are the sources that I referenced during the conversation here. I'll pause here for a moment in case you'd like to screenshot that and check that out. And then I'm just going to pop back up in case you would like to book a call, check out the website, or subscribe to my YouTube to get more familiar with my content. So I've got that here. All right. Well, I hope that was helpful, and I look forward to hearing from you. And until then, happy hiring.